Hey everybody, I was just on a Facebook page about narcissistic abuse. I know that term is thrown around a lot, and we really shouldn't be diagnosing anybody, but there is usually a set of a playbook that they all kind of operate on: lack of empathy, lack of compassion, manipulation, lying, control, gaslighting, that push-pull, right? Hot, cold, love bombing. And a lot of us are waking up to these tactics, and that's actually one of the beautiful things about narcissistic abuse being talked about so heavily. Sometimes I think it's thrown around in maybe like an overindulgent way. And in this post that I was reading, the main theme of the post was that this person was a narcissist, and they blamed the mom for the way this guy ended up turning out, that he must have had childhood trauma, and blamed the parents, especially the mom. And that just really rubbed me the wrong way. I just really truly believe that while yes, childhood trauma is a thing, and parents can do a lot of damage from their unhealed wounds and pass them on to the kids, and while that is a real thing and hurt people, and it can definitely affect the way someone shows up and how they treat people in their future relationships if they don't have healed wounds. I agree with all that. Childhood adverse events are a real thing. I worked in a school system dealing with a lot of trauma and special needs, and I'm a trauma survivor myself and have had to help my kids through some trauma. So I get it. But I don't really believe that the parents are to blame for a way a soul turns out. We have free will. Parents bring their children into the world, and a mama carries her baby for those 9 months and holds it and nurtures it and helps it thrive outside the womb. And of course, raises that child to completion. But the thing that people are forgetting is that we also have a soul. In fact, I would argue and tend to agree with C.S. Lewis in the way he views the body and the soul, in that a lot of people believe we're a body and we have a soul. Well, I believe we are a soul and we have a body. We came here on this earth for a very unique soul purpose, to fulfill soul contracts, to fulfill soul missions. I believe our soul came here to learn and evolve, and a lot of the things that have happened to us, adverse childhood events, traumas, loss, grief, pain, suffering, I believe the soul doesn't always see it as a positive or negative, or like a good or a bad, more of just what's in alignment with our soul and how it was meant to be, and what's out of alignment. And the things that happen to us aren't necessarily bad or good. They're just all here to help us evolve. Even the most horrible things that you've gone through, if you look back and you allowed it to let you change you and to heal over it, you can see that, man, had that not happened, I wouldn't have gained this skill. I wouldn't have gained my strength. I wouldn't have gained clarity on toxic people. I wouldn't have exercised my voice, my free will, setting better boundaries. I mean, I can look back on things I've been through and can see where it's helped shape me as a more evolved woman and more grounded in myself. And definitely going through narcissistic abuse takes you on a ride, a very dark, shadowy ride of looking at all the parts of yourself that got you into that situation in the first place, and causes you to heal. And some people don't obviously heal, and then they just continue to repeat the cycle, and that's okay too. We are here to learn and evolve and to grow. And I really hate it when people blame parents for everything that a person does. We have free will. Our soul came here to live out its soul purpose that I honestly believe that we decided long before we came here. And the physical vessel of the mother, while it's very important, is very little to do in the end with someone's soul purpose. And we have free will, and people turn out the way they want. People choose whether to take the pains that they've been through and use it for good or for hell. I mean, I literally, in the darkest times of my life, I remember praying very hard that God, please help me through this, obviously, and to use my pain for good. And wouldn't you know, that's how I chose to look at my grief and my pain. I didn't go around inflicting more pain on people and betrayal and suffering. I mean, I might have accidentally hurt people along the way, but you know what? Part of healing from narcissistic abuse is to stop people pleasing and to really honor yourself and your soul, and to not give as many F's about how someone else is going to perceive your boundary setting and you're speaking your truth. I mean, of course, you don't want to be an a-hole, right? When you go out in the world and exercise your boundaries and speak your truth. But a lot of people are just, there's pushback and resistance from a lot of the people that have been like taking advantage of you along the way. So going off on a tangent there, but a lot of people have gone through things, and we don't all turn our pain into narcissistic abuse. I believe a lot of it, I believe the main crux of it is a spiritual thing. The soul being more of a negative spirit, choosing conscious choice. This is not a disability, it's a conscious choice the soul made at one point on its soul story, to whether it's their first time around or their 100th, to abdicate, to cut themselves off from source energy, divine source energy, which means cutting themselves off from their intuition. Actually, that's not true. Not their intuition, but their conscience. And you can tell because they lack empathy. They fake empathy. They know what they should say. They're intuitive enough to know what people would want to hear from them, what's normal cultural behavior, but they don't actually have the empathy. So I truly believe that sometimes you can tell from a really young age whether somebody is like this or not, and it has very little to do with the parenting. While it has some to do with it, I really think we need to start looking at people for who they are as an individual and as their soul. And I created a soul quality test to help you if you are not sure of like the person you are dealing with, or choosing to maybe partner up with and romantically in business or whatever, or a family member. If you're not sure of the quality of their soul, like if they are the type of person that's kind of cut off from that spiritual aspects of themselves, if they have done that, they actually have to take energy from their environment and people around them. That's how their soul will survive. So it's like, if you ever heard of vampire, energy vampires, it's kind of true. They do actually have to take from their environment by manipulating, by controlling, whatever, the people around them. That's how their soul is going to stay alive. They've chosen not to receive divine source energy. It's just the way it is. I mean, good or bad, positive or negative. It's more of a positive or negative thing. Like, obviously, that's not how God intended our soul to be. He created our soul to be united with him. And if somebody's choosing to be like, F you, God, I'm going to be my own God and do my own thing, well, then they're now abdicating. And obviously more and more of doing that, you get further and further removed. That's more what it's about. So I've created the soul quality test. If you need help in identifying people in your life, and kind of where they are on that spectrum, that can help you definitely decide how to move forward, because knowing this has helped me a ton in my relationships, like helping me to once and for all know, like it set me free. Like, okay, that person is like that, and no wonder I'm having so many blocks and roadblocks in my relationship, so much pain, so much suffering, so much sabotaging, is because that is how their soul intends to be. And then you can walk away with your head held high, knowing I did all I could. There's no way. It's kind of like, I know somebody who, I don't want to get too personal, but I know somebody who was in therapy with their spouse and told the therapist, I really wish my husband would just have some compassion and empathy and be loving and forgiving. And then the husband actually said to the therapist and her, like, I'm not that way, and I don't ever want to be someone like that. And in that moment, I mean, she didn't have the soul quality test at the time, but that person was probably the most honest they had ever been in their entire life, and probably never would have been honest again, because they ended up getting divorced once she knew and was consciously aware of that fact, that they were actually saying, I am never going to be a person who has empathy and compassion and loving and forgiving. And she wanted that so bad, and we all deserve that. I mean, we don't all deserve it, but she wanted that. He did not want that. So their relationship ended, and I can guarantee you that person, that male, did not ever admit that ever again, because they probably learned in that situation to not be honest, to just lie your way through therapy and say whatever somebody wants to hear. And then, wouldn't you know, someone else ended up with them and going through the same cycle of trauma and abuse that person experienced. So it's just kind of like, very rarely are you going to get the narcissist to ever be that honest. I mean, that's a rare occasion, but in a sense, it set her free that he said it. It sucked to hear it, I'm sure, and it was a grieving of like a lot, like the life you once wanted to build with someone is no longer there. In fact, the person that you thought they were was probably never there, which is the truth of it. But knowing that set her free, okay? And knowing the soul quality test can set you free. We should not have to go through years and years of trauma and abuse and more adverse events and potentially entangle our finances and our marriage and our home and our security and our body and our emotions and everything, our energy, and eventually have children with somebody if you get married. We shouldn't have to go through a lifetime of that. And gosh, especially if you don't have kids. So someone like that, right? It's a huge decision who you marry. It's like the biggest decision, okay? They affect every part of your aspect of your life, and you affect your children and generations to come. We are in a season, I feel like, of people wanting to stop the trauma, heal from past generations and heal present time and forward generations. And so that means that requires us to be dating smarter, marrying smarter, business partnering up smarter, everything, just wisdom, not intellect, but wisdom of knowing this kind of stuff exists. Like the soul, we can't abdicate, or is that, I'm not even saying that right. We can't extract the soul from the equation here. I mean, a lot of people are starting to understand that there's like a quantum physics element to this that plays into everything physically that we see, and they have to be merged together. We are in a season of merging the spiritual with the physical. And if you want help with that, or coaching or remote Reiki or anything, just see me at thezenzone@mail.com. And I'd be happy to help you. And that soul quality test is amazing, and it's real quick and easy and cheap. And it's a great way to just know for sure what you're dealing with. Then you can make a decision how you want to move forward, and how, if you decide to stay, you just need to know to like set some boundaries and things like that. So let me help you. Bye.